welcome to 49ers Live tonight here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios here in San Francisco. Another edition of 49ers Live. Professor B here in the studios of San Francisco Satellite Digital Media Studio. We've welcomed to, this is going to be kind of a brief edition of 49ers Live tonight. All right, Greg. All right, okay, enough, Greg. That's the voice of the 49ers, Greg Papa. We're just, of course, we still think about Greg Papa all the time as he continued to battle his ordeal with cancer. So we are going to be here for it's going to be a very short, condensed show tonight. We're going to get you ready for Niners and Buccaneers on Sunday. Kyle Shanahan's final injury update. Then we'll have Andrew Martinez, the 49ers' second string quarterback. Of course, a lot of you know, in case it's official, Brock Purdy will be out. He will not play on Sunday. And Ricky Pearsall also going to be ruled out. Again, he's going to miss his second straight game. So we are going to, he'll miss his second straight game. So right now we're going to send it to Kyle Shanahan. He met with the media earlier today, in case you missed it. Video courtesy from 49ers.com. And it's the head coach, Kyle Shanahan, which begins right now. Hold on.
Jordan Watkins, calf out. Brock Purdy, toe out. Yetur, knee hamstring out. Kevin Givens, pec out. Juwan Jennings, questionable. Ankle rib. Alford, knee questionable. Stout, ankle questionable. Mac Jones, knee oblique questionable. Clea Davis, hand questionable. Mustafa, knee questionable. Go ahead.
See enough from Mac today to alleviate any fears you may have had yesterday, or what was the situation yesterday where he's not throwing?
He's just limited with his throwing. Today's always a lot better. Everything's walked through, so everyone did pretty good today.
Was that like traced more to the oblique, or did he have arm cramps from last game? What was?
I do know, but I don't have to tell. So it has to do with his knee / oblique.
When will you make the determination on Mac if he's able to go? Is that, you think, in the next tomorrow? Is that a game time?
Pretty much already have, but you got to put it that way if there's any doubt at all. So pretty much already have.
So you have very little doubt that he'll be able to play?
I mean, it's all recorded. I don't think I have to repeat my answer. Third time I'm not going to.
What's the plan for Curtis Rourke this year?
We should open his window soon. It's getting real close to. Probably a few weeks away. I mean, it could be anywhere from next week to a few weeks, but he's close. He's moving good, and it'll be soon.
Do you expect him to, go to the practice squad, or how would you kind of place a rookie who didn't have spring or training camp onto the roster?
Yeah, I think that's a lot. I think he'll look good when he's ready to go in those 3 weeks, but someone who's missed all of the offseason and everything, that would be tough to call him next man up or any situation like that. So that's why, he probably could have gone this week, just especially with us, being down at quarterback and everything. But we'd like to wait till he's fully healthy, and we're not going to put him up just for that reason. So we'll see how his 3 weeks go, and if it makes sense on our roster, and he can do it, then we'll do that. And if not, we'll shut him down.
Against the Rams, obviously there are a few times where it looked like Martinez would have to go in. Do you have a idea of these are the package of plays, these are the plays he's comfortable with that he knows? I mean, can you plan that far in advance, or you just kind of not wing it if he has to enter the game?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. This week's been nice for him because he's gotten a lot more reps with the ones this week, just filling in for Mac and stuff. So we've been able to see him on tape more instead of just running cards and things like that. So got a better feeling this week than I have in the past few weeks. You always try to keep it as simple as you can for guys in that situation. Give them certain things, tell them things he tells you things he's the most comfortable with, and then you try to isolate on that stuff. But when you get into a game, it's about the situation. So you try to make it as easy as possible, but you do what you have to do based off how the game's going.
The camera panned to you when Mac was grabbing at looked like his knee, or his leg. Understandably, you did not look thrilled. Can you recall what was going through your mind? I mean, it looked like Mac obviously wasn't going to be able to finish that game.
I can't, but I think if the camera hands to me during the game, I'd say 95% of the time I don't look that thrilled. Just game time, and we're focused on stuff, and I was trying to figure out what happened to him. I didn't see it, so I'm looking down the field, so it looked pretty bad, so I didn't have the best feelings at all, for sure, and was waiting to see it on the board and couldn't see anything bad on the board. And then when he ran up the field, I felt a lot better and moved on with my life. So I can't remember exactly how I felt at that moment, but it wasn't good.
Do you ever have football nightmares that wake you up in the middle of the night?
Yeah, who doesn't? I don't know. I'm usually too tired. I fall back asleep pretty fast. But no, I don't have any in particular. It's more about all the stuff you went over that day, all the stuff you feel like you are thinking about because you can't go to sleep, and then all the stuff that you feel you got to do about 4 hours later. And so it's like that during the season. That's why the 3 days off are nice. You catch up and see how long it can take you.
Gary, you've used Jack in a lot of different ways. What would you say evaluating his whole game? What's his greatest skill, you think?
His greatest is how good of a fullback he is. I mean, just how good he is at moving full speed through traffic and being able to fill out space and get to his assignments and get to the right people. Just his feel in space, and when he gets there, he's got the power to block people. He's got the technique. He's extremely smart, not just because he went to Harvard. It's actually real. He can handle anything we give him. When you play fullback at that level, people have to honor what a fullback does compared to a third receiver, which changes personnel. And then when it comes to putting him in other spots, it doesn't matter really what it is. He's got as good a hands as anyone I've seen on the team, and he's not scared of the moment. He makes big plays, and he is fearless.
So Christian be a full-time slot receiver if he wanted to be?
Yeah, definitely. And he might not be the best in the league at it, like he is a running back, but he definitely can make it as a slot receiver without a doubt.
Jake giving you the confidence that you can contribute even when George comes back and takes the lion's share of reps?
Yeah, definitely. Jake's given us a lot of confidence. I mean, him just coming into this role out of nowhere versus Seattle, finishing the game that way, and then just each week he's been thrown in a lot of situations he hasn't been in before, and I think he's rose to the occasion on all of them. Some of the catches you guys have seen him make, how much better I think he's getting in the run game. Some of the hits he's taken in a couple of these games where I thought we've lost him. It happened early, I think, on the first drive versus Jacksonville, and then it happened later in the game versus the Rams. And for him to get back right out there, I think he only missed a couple plays and to keep going. I've been really impressed with Jake, and that's why he's earning a role in a lot of ways.
All
right, thanks, guys.
All right, so that was Kyle Shanahan of his final report, for Sunday, as the 49ers will be getting ready to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for an important intra-divisional game, as the Niners and the Bucks will be coming up, as the team already had left after this from early in the day, have left and did their practice. They hop on a plane after practice. They head down to Tampa, Florida. Niners and Buccaneers. That is a 1:25 kickoff time. That will be on CBS. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo with the call. Tracy Wolfson will be handling the sideline duties, and on the Niners flagship station, KBR 680 104.5 FM, and 104.5 FM and 107.7 FM The Bone, as Guy Haberman and Tim Ryan with the play-by-play in action. We are going to continue on Niners Radio 49. This segment we will have on our next segment on Niners Radio 49. It's Adrian Martinez, the backup, who's going to be suited up as the number 2 man. He talked with the media earlier today, and in the quarterback room, he talked with the media earlier today down at Santa Clara.
That process started on day one. And even over the last few weeks, like you said, getting called up, I think the job of a quarterback or of any guy on this team is to prepare like you're playing, you know what I mean? So I think that's helped me in that transition of getting called up.
Obviously, a guy like Mac, when he was in OTAs and had been here for a little while, he's like, hey, I'm still trying to figure all this out, still, understandably. I mean, I'm sure you kind of have to be similar in that process. I guess, how would you describe how much you think you've absorbed of this offense and how much you can handle?
Yeah, well, I feel confident, obviously, and I think that process happens every week when you go through a game plan. Starting on Monday and then Wednesday, the first real practice, and you're absorbing the game plan, and it's a process. Today's, what is it? It's Friday at 2:37, and we don't play until Sunday at 4:25. You know what I mean? So you take up all the time you can in processing and understanding our game plan, what they're trying to do, and I feel confident.
The man put some pants on.
Come on, bro.
Given the situation ahead of you with the guys, both those guys being injured, have you had to accelerate your learning process?
I wouldn't phrase it that way. Like I said, I think since day one, I've accelerated that process. It's there's an urgency there, and that's just part of it.
That's been there from the beginning.
Definitely.
Can you give us an idea of just what the UFL did for you and your confidence?
Yeah. Well, I love the UFL, and I think it's a league that is necessary and a league that gave me an opportunity to bounce back. I make a joke when people ask me about it. I call it professional JUCO, but it really is like bounce backs. There's first-round picks, third-round picks, undrafted guys like myself, and the UFL gave me an opportunity to play 12 games, show what I can do, and show that I'm an NFL guy. So it was an awesome experience. Obviously, a lot of close friends and teammates from it, and we won, so that was a lot of fun too.
Adrian, when Mac is on the ground last week grabbing at his leg, most people assumed, okay, it's time for Adrian Martinez to play. What are you thinking there on the sideline?
Yeah, well, I'm right there with you. I was like, okay, it's time to go in.
Yeah.
And, that was the assumption I had after that moment. And then Mac, the warrior he is, he gets up, he fist pumps the crowd and comes running to the sideline. So that's my guy, so it's awesome to see him getting up like that. And I was ready, and would be ready. And that's part of my role.
Are the emotions like excitement, butterflies?
There's always excitement.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't have a couple butterflies, you're not human. You know what I mean? Like this is the NFL. It's playing football, and whether I was playing in Pop Warner or at Nebraska or K-State or the UFL, like I'm excited to go out there and play. I think it's as simple as that.
How much have you learned from Brock and Mac?
Yeah, it's a fun room. This is the first room where we're all like around the same age, so it's pretty cool that way. We have similar experiences that way, and they both played a lot of football, a lot of NFL football. So they have valuable insight, and how they see the game is always interesting for me.
So the rookies have talked about going out to dinner. There's obviously that age commonality there. Is that the same kind of dynamic in the QB room where you guys can even hang out off the field?
Oh yeah, I'd say so. I think we've developed a pretty good camaraderie. I mean, I've only been here 5 weeks or so, but it wasn't hard to assimilate. I think those guys make it easy in the room. I think Mick Lombardi does a great job of kind of establishing that culture, and obviously what this team and organization does. And you get that feel coming into the locker room that it's a brother.
How did Mick look on tape with some of the passes he had to throw yesterday?
Hey, Mick played quarterback in college, right? So he can sling it a little bit.
You have a lot of zone read experience on Shan. This team hasn't had much of that since Trey left, but I guess can you just your history as that type of a quarterback that can run the ball as well as throw it?
Yeah, I think that's always a big part of my game that's there at the ready. And, again, if that opportunity comes up, I'll definitely be ready to run a few of those.
In the right direction for the 49ers, and I have visual evidence here from the facility. That is Mac Jones throwing the football. Didn't happen on Thursday. Happened during today's session right before the 49ers took the buses to...
All right, sorry about that. Just a little extra feedback from David Lombardi. We're gonna hopefully try to get him on eventually on Niners Radio 49. But we're just trying to keep pace of what we're doing on these segments. So we are going to have a quick timeout, and then when we come back, we'll preview the 49ers and we'll preview them coming up. We'll have just to take a look at the 49ers Tampa Bay Buccaneers series, all-time series. So we'll take this quick timeout, and then we'll be right back. I'm Brian Professor B. Davis here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios. You are watching 49ers Live tonight on Niners Radio 49. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 49ers Live tonight. I'm Brian Professor Pete Davis on Niners Radio 49. Going to the matchup between the 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this matchup, interdivision matchup, as the two best records. And the Niners right now have the best record in the NFC going into this game. A reminder again, 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That will be a 125 game. That's part of the late game on CBS, a late game CBS doubleheader. Jim Nantz and along with Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson will be the sideline reporters that will be giving you the game on CBS. And then, of course, right after the game locally in the Bay Area, after that is the point after with KPIX Sports Director Vernon Glenn. And then 49ers post-game live will condense on NBC Sports Bay Area right after 49ers football with Matt Mayoko, Bonte Hill, of course, a George Washington alumnus, just as yours truly, and Laura Brett and the rest of cast of thousands, and we'll give you all the latest from the post-game recap from Tampa Bay's Raymond James Stadium. Niners Radio 49 post-game live will follow immediately following the game on Sunday. So, right now we take a look at the series, look at the numbers. Okay, the Niners offense registered 80 passing first downs in the season. That's most in all of football. And then Fred Warner has tallied 50 tackles this season, third most in the league. Jordan Brooks from the Dolphins and Bobby Wagner of Washington. In 2025, the Niners defense held its post to 10 rushes or more yards, tied for sixth fewest in the league. The 49ers offense have allowed 7 sacks this season, tied for sixth fewest. And taking a look of the all-time series, Niners lead the all-time series 21-7. They're 21-7 in 28 games. This would be the 29th time. There was at one point this will be since 1977. They end up the Niners at one point won the first. At one point, the Niners end up winning 12 out of the next 13 games. 12 out of his first 13 meetings versus the Buccaneers from 1977 through 1993. You got to remember at the time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were not that good the first couple years. They did come strong in 1970. The Niners did beat the Buccaneers 23-7 in 79. What would be back on December 9th, 1979, what would be O.J. Simpson's final home game as a 49er. In their first 13 meetings, the Buccaneers only won end up beating them in 19. And the Buccaneers, of course, end up winning the NFC Central Division in 79 in their fourth season. They went all the way to the NFC Championship, falling to the LA Rams at home 9-0 in the NFC Championship game back in January of 1980. Then the Buccaneers would go on to win the next game in 1980, 24-23, but then after that it was all 49ers. They would go on to win win 9 in a row against the Buccaneers from 83 through 94. And you also got to remember the Buccaneers were not that good during the mid-late 80s, early 90s. And then until 1997 when the Buccaneers beat the 49ers 13-6. First time the Buccaneers ever beaten the 49ers at the Sombrero. And that was the game will be remembered when Jerry Rice was yanked down by Warren Sapp and Rice tore his ACL. And in that same game, Steve Young was knocked out in that game later by Warren Sapp with a concussion. And that was when the day we saw the rise of the Buccaneers when Tony Dungy was the head coach, and they had Warren Sapp. They built that nucleus. Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, two future Hall of Famers, one of many future Hall of Famers for the Bucks Buck 2 defense. Think of and John Lynch, who played his collegiate played down the road at Stanford, played with Bill Walsh at Stanford, and then another former Bay Area college football legend, Shiani Onanatu, who played his collegiate ball at Cal Berkeley. Same thing as Hardy Nickerson, who played for the Buccaneers. He played for Cal Bears back in the 80s. And then the Buccaneers dove. Their only playoff appearance was in the divisional playoff. The Niners ended up beating them 31-6. And, of course, that was the game. The Bucket with John Gruden was this time their head coach, and they would beat the 49ers. Would go and would be Steve Mariucci's final game as Niners head coach. As the Niners, after that, Mooch would end up getting fired after 6 seasons there, and then everything went downhill after that through some lean years until Jim Harbaugh took over the team in 2011, some 14 years ago. So you look at the numbers. Both teams are 4-1. Niners are 4-1. They're 22nd in points per game. Total offense is ranked 5th. And their total defense is 15th. Rushing defense is tied for 8th. The Niners' point differential is a -3. Tampa's +2. And also, you're looking at some of the injuries for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As we look at on the lines like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin Jr., Bucky Irving, most likely will not be playing. They're dealing with injuries. Mike Evans with the hamstring, Godwin with a fibula, Irving with a foot and shoulder will not play on Sunday. So there is the injury report. And when we come back on Niners Radio 49, we will have a 49ers community segment moment from Brianwood Elementary School doing Community Tuesday. This is something the Niners do during the week, during their off day, go out into the community. And we will show you that. I'm Professor B here on Niners Radio 49. We're going to take this quick time out, and we'll be right back. Welcome back on 49ers Live tonight. Professor B here. We are going to now go in our next segment on Niners Radio 49. This is our segment on Niners Radio 49. We are so as we continue on Niners Radio 49, we are going to this segment. We have a couple segments we're going to have. 49ers hold a story time read for justice event, and then after that we'll have and then we'll have on our second segment, we will have we'll have our next segment. We will have in our next segment we will have for a second. I'm trying to pull this one up. Give me 1 second. And in our next segment, we will have 40-hour player surprise Brianwood Elementary School in the South Bay. So, hope you enjoy both of these segments. Hope you enjoy these next two segments. So, hope you enjoy these next two segments. Professor B for Niners Radio 49.
We were here today. We were reading stories about welcoming all types of people with varying disabilities or people that look different from one another and welcoming all types of kids.
We read them a book today and, asked questions on, what it means and what it feels like to be included or include someone that you don't know. Because, at the end of the day, we're all different. Nobody's the same. And starting young right now, that's going to help them in the long run.
And then we were making book cards about what makes us unique as individuals for the kids. So yeah, it was a great day.
It's a blessing. This is highlight of my week, just giving back to the younger generation and, hopefully, they take it and run with it and become amazing individuals.
The importance of reading is really comes down to having and developing a lust for learning, I think, and having kids fall in love with a book, and it kind of opens up the rest of school to them. I think the passion of learning is the biggest thing with reading. The other theme that we talked about was celebrating and welcoming all types of people and kids and teaching them at a young age. Like, a lot of these kids are going to be, our world leaders in our community and the next generation, and teaching at a young age, welcoming everyone and looking out for the kid that gets left out. Those are just kind of the topics we talked about.
Just getting out in the community, it really helps get away from football. And when you get around these kids, it really just reminds you that life is more fun and more imaginative than serious. And the more you get reminded of that, it just makes it a lot easier on you. So doing these events just makes it a lot better for me personally.
I love this. Love seeing the smile on the kids' faces, seeing the impact we as an organization are having on everybody, and being able to help.
All right, that was the 49ers had their community.
Got people talking on the chat.
Uh-oh. Yep. So we're back on it. So that was a cool segment. Niners doing their out in the community. They do this usually on Tuesdays on their off days to get away from football. That's a good thing they do in the community. Check out more on 49ers.com. So we will now have one more segment. It's and we want to take a look at this next segment on Niners Radio 49. This is his name is Andy Martinez, and Andy Martinez or Andrea Martinez this is from the 49ers in Spanish. So for all our Spanish people, we want to be more diversity and hear some of these stories. So this is in Spanish, and want to be more diverse. I want to check this one out. So enjoy this final segment on Niners Radio 49. So here we go.
Está abierto para cualquier persona que lo quiera intentar. Lo único que tienes que tener siempre en mente y firme es lo que realmente quieres hacer, la disciplina que debes de tener, la responsabilidad, el aferrarte ante cualquier situación que se te ponga encima, porque este deporte es de altas y bajas, pero pues tú tienes que tener la fuerza mental para mantenerte constante y al final, si es algo que realmente amas hacer, pues lo vas a disfrutar.
No regales tu trabajo porque también el resultado no puede generar una cosa ni una yarda.
Andrea era la elegida, ella tiene familia de fútbol americano, no le era ajena lo que eran los Pumas, no le era ajena lo que es el fútbol americano en tal, el estilo de vida, la exigencia, la preparación. Entonces sabíamos que ella tenía un carácter distinto, un carácter firme, que claramente se requiere aquí en los Pumas para poder jugar. Ella es necia, ella es tenaz, no entiende un no. Si ella le hubiera hecho caso a cualquier entrenador o a mí inclusive, cuando le dije, no, llévatela con calma, no lo hagas, no, cuídate, no sería lo que es el día de hoy. Y pues eso es lo que hace una mujer ejemplar, el abrirse las puertas. A veces hay que abrirlas con mucha persistencia y hay veces hay que tumbar la puerta. Y ella tumbó muros para estar aquí.
Creo que los 49ers siempre fueron de los equipos que más me llaman la atención porque siento que tienen un ritmo de juego muy rápido y los veo yo, aparte de que el uniforme y los colores me encantan, los veo como muy grandes, no sé, como que muy fuertes. Entonces también como que me gusta de ese equipo. Además de que mi hermano también va a los 49ers.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of 49ers Live tonight. I'd like to thank for all of you watching tonight. Give us a really condensed show, went a little more than almost 40 minutes. As a reminder, the 49ers will be back in action to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the top spot in the NFC. Niners sit at 4-1 atop the NFC West. Right now, they're sitting with the Philadelphia Eagles losing last night. For the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles losing last night, Niners sit with the best record in the NFC despite all of their injuries. They have the top spot in the NFC. And look at the West. Seattle is 3-2. The Rams will play the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. That's the early game you can see on. That will be the early game. And then Seattle will play. The Seahawks will also be playing. This is for all week 6 in the NFL. For week 6, I'm just going to pull this up to make sure I don't want to give no misinformation. So it's going to be week 6. It will be. So just a reminder for all you 49er fans, it will be New England at New Orleans, or no, correction, it'll be the Chargers and Dolphins. For all of you in the Bay Area, you'll get the Chargers and the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium. That's the early game, part of CBS's doubleheader. That's going to be the 10 o'clock game. Andrew Catalan, Charles Davis, and Jason McCourty, what they call. So all of you 49er fans in the Bay Area here, in the San Francisco Bay Area market, you'll catch that game on KPIX CBS 5 as part of the NFL doubleheader. And then you go check out the late game in the late game. Let me pull this up. So just to make sure, and the footage is courtesy of 506sports.com. So I pulled this up. So this is the early game, and all this blue. It'll be the Chargers and Dolphins, and we'll get the early game on CBS. And then we go into the late game. The late window, it will be the Niners and Tampa Bay. And this is the feature game. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo with the call. And you see all this red? This will be mostly a National League game. This is all around the country. So not only just in the Bay Area and on the West Coast where all the 49er fans are at, but there'll be a lot of Niner fans all across the country on the Eastern time zone watching this big feature game. That's the late window on CBS. And then the Rams will take on the Baltimore Ravens. That's the early game. It's a regional game. Rams at the Baltimore Ravens. That will be a 10 a.m. our time. That will be on Fox. And it'll be Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady giving you the action at M&T Bank Stadium from Baltimore. The Rams sitting there at 3-2. Going to try to coming off their mini bye week, while the struggling Ravens sit right now at 1-4, and that's a team that a lot of people thought they could challenge the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills for the top spot in the AFC, and they have just not played well out of the gate. They need to try to get back on track, try to salvage something before their bye week. So Niner fans will be scoreboard watching early for that game on Sunday. And the Niners, of course, the winner of this game, the Niners trying to increase their lead up to 2, try to increase their lead for the top spot. Seattle will be at Jacksonville taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, and then the Arizona Cardinals will be at Lucas Oil Bank Stadium to take on the Indianapolis Colts. So the winner of that, so the Niners, if they could win another game, the Niners, if they could win this game tonight, if they a win for the Niners, and they'll own the top spot in the NFC and try to gain ground on the rest of the division. So it's a 10 a.m. start. By the time the Niners, that game, the Niners-Bucks game starts, or when those two games are concluded, those three, the Seahawks, Colts, Rams, Ravens, and Cardinals, and and then the Cardinals. And then the Cardinals-Colts game comes in Seattle. Jacksonville game comes in, and the Rams and the Ravens. But that game will be, once that game is concluded, we'll know what would happen, whether the Niners are going to pick up ground or, go figure. You got to go out and play the game. So, 1:25 is the kickoff time. That would be on CBS. And that will be... that's going to be the late game on CBS, as that'd be the late game on CBS as that would be on CBS. I'm going to try. And you can watch the game on Paramount Plus. That would be... So that game will be on CBS. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo will be on the call for tomorrow, or on Sunday. So... And then and then next week, the Niners will then, after Sunday's game, they'll be back in action. They will take on the Atlanta Falcons. That will be 1 week from next Sunday night. They'll take on the Atlanta Falcons for Sunday Night Football on NBC. Your exclusive network home of Super Bowl 60 will be right here in the Bay Area at Levi Stadium at the Mecca on Sunday, February 8th. That will be a 5:20 kickoff time, which will be preceded by Football Night in America. You can catch the Niners and Falcons next Sunday on NBC and get your tickets for that game. Please, seats are still available. Go to 49ers or Ticketmaster.com. Ticketmaster.com. Ticketmaster.com is the official ticket provider for your San Francisco 49ers. That's it for now. Brian Professor B. Davis signing off, and so long. Thank you for watching 49ers Live tonight on Niners Radio 49. 49ers Live tonight is a presentation of Niners Radio 49 in association with the Satellite Digital Media News Network, where every team is a fan and every fan is a voice. The network home of champions. 49ers football, faithful to the Bay. Have a very pleasant good evening.